Good evening, everyone. I'm Amy Brunmone, Ward 5 Council Member and President of the St. Paul City Council. It's wonderful to have you here tonight. If you're able, please rise for the presentation of colors by the St. Paul Police Department and Fire Local 21.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free
and the home
of the brave?
Would you guys just stay? Can we put our hands together one more time for the incredible Dua Chi Yang and Sang Lor? Thank you. Thank you so much for braving the ruts and the rain to be here with us tonight. I would like to extend a special welcome to our elected officials who have joined us here, including my colleagues on the St. Paul City Council, Ward 1 Councilmember Dai Tao, Councilmember Rebecca Naker, Ward 2, Councilmember Chris Tolbert, Ward 3, Councilmember Mitra Jalali Nelson, Ward 4, and Councilmember Jane Prince, Ward 7. I'd also like to acknowledge Ramsey County Commissioner Tony Carter, Ramsey County Commissioner Jim McDonough, our fearless school board leaders, Janelle Foster, John Broderick, and Zuki Ellis, and Steve Marchese. And of course, the principal, our superintendent, Dr. Joe Gothard. Thank you very much for being here. It is an exciting time in St. Paul. I find myself chuckling sometimes when I pass a St. Paul city limits sign with that crusty old 2010 population data that says we have 285,000 people, because I know we are so much closer to 310,000 today, only 9 years later. We are changing and growing as a city, whether you've been in St. Paul for several generations or whether you're just settling in, you're an important and valued member of our community. Every day, it is an honor to serve as your council president and to work with Mayor Carter and my fabulous colleagues and residents across our city to shape the future of St. Paul. In 2019, your voices and the voices of residents across the neighborhoods will play a critical role in helping us understand the needs of our city and the challenges that we may face moving forward. And we know you're up to the task because that is exactly what we did in 2018. So before Mayor Carter provides us with his State of Our City address, let's take a moment to acknowledge and celebrate the incredible things we achieved in 2018.
This book is called A City That Works for You and Me, and it's by Mayor Melvin Carter. Do you know who that is? Yeah. That's right. Okay. It goes like this. Take a look all around. Now, isn't it pretty? There's no land on this planet like our capital city. So gather round, come one, come all. Hear the story of 2018 in St. Paul. With values and goals planted firmly at root, our labors quite quickly began bearing fruit as we fought and campaigned to build community power and raised minimum wage to $15 an hour. With money, we never can be too cautious, so we launched our Financial Empowerment Office to help us build credit and connect to real banks that don't charge 300% interest. No thanks. Our most thrilling plan is to give kids a head start, a college savings account with $50 from the heart. And we won't stop. There's no chance, no way, till each child born has her own CSA. All our children are all our children. Each one is yours and mine, so we tripled free programs in rec centers and eliminated library late fines. A most basic promise our city must keep is ensuring our neighbors safe places to sleep. Keeping this promise to us is a must, so we chipped in $10 million to start an affordable housing trust. Here, neighbors and police work together. It keeps us all on our toes. We changed use of force rules, sharpened mental health tools, and then we played Super Smash Bros. We doubled down on our fleet to rebuild sidewalks and streets. That includes better crosswalks and stripes. And here's a sweet deal for those on two wheels, our first dedicated funding for bikes. We met a raccoon who proved without fright that St. Paul is a place you can move to high heights. Some days are a challenge while others are easy. Meeting Snoop Dogg with Mayor Fry was off the heezy for sheezy. From fires and flooding and blizzards to the sea rising higher than land, all of science and logic unite to demand action on our climate plan. We're making our buildings efficient. We're caring for city trees. We won $2.5 million in a climate challenge grant from Bloomberg Philanthropies. Some families have been here 100 years, and some only 2, 4, or 6. We speak over 100 languages. Oh, what a beautiful mix. We welcome every family, no matter how far or recently journeyed. So we started a legal defense fund and hired an immigrant services attorney. The future is coming, and we're gonna win it. St. Paul's a great city because we're all in it. I'll say it again before it's too late. Caring for each other is what makes St. Paul great. I'm never alone, because St. Paul's a great crowd. From community hiring to budget gains, you're making me proud. So say it loud and say it proud. Membership has its perks. Building a St. Paul that works for us all means we all must do the work. It's an honor of a lifetime to be your mayor. Thank you, thank you, thank you for our incredible first year. That was a lot of fun. Good evening, and thank you so much for being here today. Council President Bremon and members of our City Council, all of the other elected officials present here with us this afternoon, Superintendent Gothard, Harding High School, and entire St. Paul Public Schools family. You always host us so graciously. We thank you. Mayor's office staff, our administration and cabinet, and all of the city staff here today who work so hard to make everything we do possible. I want to say thank you to you as well, and to my family, starting with my incredible wife, Dr. Sakina Futrell Carter. Thank you so much for your support. She's my partner in crime, my partner in justice, and everything in between. So thank you so much for your support. I already thanked the elected officials in the room, but I'll maybe call out one other one, and that's County Commissioner Tony Carter. We've gotten a chance to partner together closely on a lot of initiatives over the past 40 years now. And thank you for being here. My father as well, Melvin Carter Jr., whose autobiography, Diesel Heart, is in bookstores near you. Thank you for being here. And to all of you who took the time to join us here this evening, I want to thank you for coming here today. I'm a year now into my time as mayor, and this has been both the most difficult and most rewarding journey of my professional career. Through the slope failure that dropped 300,000 pounds of rock onto Wabasha Avenue last year, through an officer-involved shooting, one of the most terrible things a city family can go through, through water main breaks, home fires and explosions, and blizzard after blizzard after blizzard after blizzard after blizzard. I'm looking at you, Public Works Director Kathy Lantry. You've been there every step along the way. This extreme cold and record-breaking snow we've experienced over the past month has stretched our city to the seams. It challenges, and I know inconveniences us all. I appreciate and want to thank you all for your patience as we've fought snowfall after snowfall after snowfall. Most of all, I tip my hat to the public employees. To the police officers and firefighters who show up in our most troubling moments, to the water department employees and snowplow drivers who dig us out of whatever situations we find ourselves in, to the rec center and library workers who work overtime to offer warm, safe space for families, and yes, to the never, ever, ever thanked men and women who work outside all day long in the cold to haul away our trash and recycling. Thank you so much. You deserve our thanks and respect. I've been thinking about Martin Luther King Day recently. For some reason, it was always the one day of the year that I wanted the weather to be bad. You know, no matter how cold the wind was or how deep the snow, our Martin Luther King Day march always felt short in comparison to the march across the Edmund Pettus Bridge. Even more, our snow, the snow, reveals our character. On those days, growing up, we'd pull each other close. We'd be sure to step in each other's footsteps, and we'd sing together to make the journey shorter. In little ways, I know we've all been doing that with our family, with our friends, with our neighbors, all winter long to get through this together, and I appreciate you for that. We are at an exciting time in St. Paul's story. Our population has grown by 24,000 over the last 9 years. New developments are popping up all over the place, from Osborne 370, the 428 and Treasure Island Center downtown, to Beacon Bluff Business Center right here on the east side. Exciting visions for our Ford plant and River's Edge put $2 billion in proposed economic development on our horizon, and Minnesota United will play their home opener at our brand new Allianz Field on April 13th. Scarves up. St. Paul is literally overflowing with opportunity, and people are noticing. Earlier this year, we hosted a Miami-based company that is planning to move and has narrowed their choices to either Dallas or St. Paul. As we reflect on the state of our city, however, we still have work to do to ensure that all of us get to participate in the benefits of St. Paul's growing prosperity. Experience shows that our passion for helping people can sometimes take a back seat to our zeal for municipal statistics. The money we spend to build new housing means nothing if families can't stay in their homes. Our work to bring down crime rates will be marginal without addressing the basic needs that make people feel so desperate in the first place. And $1 billion light rail is still useless if it just speeds through our most transit-dependent neighborhoods. The state of our city cannot be measured by the height of our tallest buildings, nor by the value of our largest firms, but only by the extent to which our public supports and resources work for all of us. From our affordable housing trust to funding our schools, the meaningful investments we've made over the past year to invest in people will change our city's course. We've made big progress in a small amount of time, and your work is the key ingredient. Building a city that works for all of us is only possible if all of us build it together. Over the past month, we've asked residents across our city a simple question. When someone asks, "What was it like growing up in St. Paul?" what do we hope our children will say? We got 400 different responses from people of different ages, neighborhoods, and cultures, and we learned that our hopes really aren't that different. In every part of our city, we said that building a city that works for all of us means ensuring that we can all feel safe, welcome, and included in St. Paul's prosperity and growth. You wouldn't let us separate the three either, because we realize that feeling welcome and included makes us safer too. Together, we're constructing a new roadmap for city building. Traditional public safety strategies move people out of public spaces, but we feel safer when people are around. Traditional strategies send offenders to the margins, but we feel safer when our neighborhoods feel connected and hopeful about their future. Our traditional public safety toolbox isn't designed to make us all feel safe, but to draw a circle and protect those inside from the others at all costs. That explains why some of us want fewer police officers, while others demand more. Where you live in relation to that circle defines your reality and shapes your perspective. In a city that works for all of us, where we all feel safe, welcome, and included, that circle cannot exist. We need a strategy that goes beyond crime response to crime reduction. That's the genesis of our Community First public safety framework. Community First was born in conversation with a group of teens on the West Side. I asked them about the places and the people that make them feel most safe. Their response was refreshingly comprehensive compared to the simple law and order discourse we're used to. They mentioned their homes, schools, their rec center, their library, adults who believe in them, and the friends who have their back, and a local police officer who knows them all by name. Their feedback and yours, combined with a large body of academic research, informs the core strategies of our Community First framework. People who trust that police will treat them fairly are more likely to obey the law, assist with investigations, and call 911 in an emergency. So we will prioritize and protect the trust between community and law enforcement. The quality of our built environment influences the outcomes and behaviors that occur within, so we will reinvest in our challenged neighborhoods. And people who are financially secure, educated, and connected to community are less likely to become either an offender or a victim. So we will employ every tool to connect residents to opportunity. Chief Axtell and I work together closely to foster and protect community trust in law enforcement. We reviewed and revised our police department's use of force policies, issued the department's first ever use of force report, and called timeout for a comprehensive audit of our K-9 unit. We invested in our mental health unit, added capacity to investigate sex crimes, and expanded our community engagement division. Like any relationship, though, our work to build trust is never done. Next, I'll work with our city attorney, Lindsay Olson, to launch the Neighborhood Justice Program, with trained volunteers employing restorative justice principles as an alternative to criminal prosecution for nonviolent first-time offenders. I'm excited about this. I'll issue the first executive order of my administration, creating a returning residents advisory council to ask those who've re-entered our community from incarceration alongside nonprofit and public sector professionals for recommendations toward making St. Paul safer, more inclusive, and more welcoming for them too. The next strategy in our framework is to invest in the physical character of our neighborhoods. Research shows that public spaces that are well-designed, well-maintained, and well-lit improve quality of life for residents and limit opportunity for crime. Our St. Paul Downtown Alliance is putting those principles into action. Public, private, and nonprofit leaders have teamed up to launch a stewardship pilot program, including community activities, art projects, grants for performances, beautification and youth activities, and full-time staff to pick up trash, coordinate with businesses, and provide walking directions. Those efforts will make downtown safer and more enjoyable to live, work, run a business, or just have fun. We're supporting those efforts with more than words. The city has stepped up to mill and overlay every downtown street over the next few years to leverage those investments. We're partnering in our neighborhoods, too, through commercial vitality zones. Our Department of Planning and Economic Development last month announced $322,000 in funding, matched by $360,000 in private investments from 14 businesses near Rice and University, including El Bravo Restaurant, Mama Ann's Soul Food, Minutemen Auto Sales, and a Gateway Pagoda to welcome visitors to Mungtown Marketplace. Improving our streets, sidewalks, and bike lanes make our public right-of-way safer and more welcoming, and eliminating late fines has already reopened our libraries to people of all incomes. We're investing in our cultural destination areas like Little Mekong, Little Africa, and District del Sol, leveraging our city's rich diversity to create jobs and economic opportunity, particularly within our communities of color. To continue this work, I will create a cross-department work group to assess and recommend physical improvements in specific areas of our city with the most pronounced public safety concerns, using principles of CPTED, crime prevention through environmental design, to recommend physical improvements. One place in St. Paul that definitely requires investment is our 3rd Street Kellogg Bridge, which connects the East Side and our entire East Metro to downtown. Originally constructed and owned by the state, the bridge was conveyed to the city in 1983 with no support or funding for ongoing maintenance. While most of our city-owned bridges are 25 feet long and supported by only 2 piers, the 3rd Street Kellogg Bridge is 2,100 feet long with 19 piers. Minnesota's only other comparable city-owned bridge is the 10th Avenue Bridge in Minneapolis, which won bonding funds for reconstruction in 2017. For the 5th straight year, we are working with our St. Paul legislative delegation to request bonding dollars for the 3rd Street Kellogg Bridge. With the projected economic downturn on the horizon, now is the time. Let's fix the bridge, put people to work, and connect the entire East Metro to the prosperity and opportunities downtown. In time, all of these efforts will make St. Paul a safer, more inclusive, and more welcoming place to live. But we don't all have the luxury of time. I hear your stories every day. Fatima struggles to pay rent and feed her family on $11.96 an hour in her 9th year of employment at a local retailer. Andre
rebuilt his life after getting out of prison, eventually earned his taxi license, paving his way to become a homeowner, college graduate, and a youth basketball coach. Yeah. Aaliyah, once a teen mom ashamed of her GED, will complete her postdoctoral studies this spring. I hear you loud and clear. Your urgency, your big dreams, the amazing lives you've built, and the incredible barriers you've faced. Our job as a city isn't just to create conditions where success is possible, it's to seek and destroy every barrier that limits our potential. We raised the minimum wage so no one who works full-time is ever stuck living in poverty. We are launching our virtual one-shop to simplify the permitting process for those seeking to reinvest in their homes or businesses. And we established our Office of Financial Empowerment to help put money back in the pockets of our lowest income St. Paulites. Our simplest strategy is helping people file taxes. 5,000 of our lowest income residents lose an estimated $15 million per year just by allowing state and federal tax credits to go unclaimed. Ensuring people know how, where, and why to get free tax help will help families be more self-sufficient and bring millions back into our local economy. Our most exciting proposal is our plan to start every child born in St. Paul on the pathway to college from birth with $50 in a college savings account. Thank you. During this speech last year, I announced the formation of a task force to study and make recommendations on how to implement such a plan in our city. Led by Ann Mulholland at the St. Paul and Minnesota Community Foundations and Rick Beeson from Sunrise Bank, that task force got to work and spent the last year planning, engaging community members, and studying other cities. In less than a year, they've completed their work and delivered an 89-page report. I want to thank them for their work. I'm excited to give you the first peek at our new name and logo and to share that college-bound St. Paul, our dream that felt like a moonshot only 1 year ago, is on pace towards our goal of launching our first college savings accounts in January 2020. Too many of our neighbors face homelessness and housing insecurity every day. Our tent encampment this fall and our polar vortex this winter brought us face to face with this fact. But the everyday challenges associated with homelessness and housing insecurity touch us all. Business leaders share their frustrations that their employees struggle to find good housing. School leaders struggle to serve children who move and change schools 4 or 5 times in one school year. Our affordable housing crisis impacts every single one of us, every workplace, every classroom, every neighborhood. When children in our schools move that much, it disrupts their education and every other student in every classroom they touch. Last year, the City Council asked for significant new investments in affordable housing in my budget proposal. We met that charge together with a $71 million investment over the next 3 years. For some families, housing is the pathway to wealth. For many, it's the opposite, as 1 in 3 St. Paul families and half of our residents of color spend more than 30% of their income on rent every month. I am working with our housing team to design a supplemental housing assistance pilot, seeded by our Affordable Housing Trust Fund in partnership with the St. Paul Public Schools, Wilder Foundation, and private philanthropic partners. Our goal is to provide a modest monthly supplement to help low-income, housing cost-burdened families with children in targeted public schools maintain stable housing. Now that the City Council's funding challenge is met, I have a challenge too. I am calling on our City Council to pass a set of policy proposals to help low-income families, tenants on public assistance, and residents who've re-entered our community from incarceration find and keep stable housing, from preventing discrimination, displacement, and unfair evictions to apprising tenants of their rights. The families we deserve so urgently deserve action. So I am asking the council to pass and send this fair housing policy agenda to my desk as soon as possible. Last month, I joined the St. Paul and Minnesota Community Foundations to celebrate an important milestone. They've now given over $1 billion to Minnesota communities over the past 80 years. The most incredible part of that story is that it all started with one woman, Annie Paper, and a $5,000 gift. See, every day in St. Paul, small acts add up to make a big difference. Last week, Elliot Helmer, a 17-year-old Eagle Scout from St. Anthony Park, donated over 1,000 stuffed animals he collected to the St. Paul Police Department to help comfort children in traumatic situations. He's a hero. I love the giving spirit of service that so embodies St. Paul. More than anything, our willingness to help each other is our key to the future. In my inaugural speech last year, I joked, "Don't clap if you're not going to help." More of you clapped after I said it than before I said it, just to let me know you're ready to go. So let's get to work. Today, we're launching For St. Paul, our quest to challenge every St. Paul resident to build a stronger city with us in 4 small, simple, specific acts. I challenge you to take action, to improve or invest in yourself, to make life or even just one day easier for someone else, to beautify, clean, or bring people together in your community, and to speak up and make your voice heard on a public level. I dare you not to think about grandiose efforts that take 1,000 people and a year to plan, but finite tasks you can accomplish and complete next week. If every one of us steps forward to do 4 small things, we'll generate over 1 million acts of service to our city. I know, thank you. And when you've done with those 4, do a 5th. Challenge someone else to do it too. I know St. Paul is an incredible city because I talk to you every day. Our enormous dreams for our children, our careers, our innovative ideas and businesses never cease to amaze. It's your strength and determination, your creativity, your ideas, your grit and tenacity that keep St. Paul moving forward. William Shakespeare once asked, "What is the city but the people?" Because I see your strength in action every day, I am pleased to declare that the state of our city is strong, diverse, and as prepared as ever for the challenges ahead. Thank you very much. You've done this now with us a few times, so you should know this already, but we invite you to stay and plug into the conversation with us. Join us in the cafeteria for feedback sessions and share back with us what you think about what you've heard tonight. I will see you in the cafeteria. Thank you very much.